My sister-in-law and her partner have now had 2 weddings. They live in San Francisco. The first one was after Gavin Newsom opened up City Hall and allowed the same-sex marriages. And the second one was just recently after the California Supreme Court made their ruling. Should Proposition 8 pass, and hopefully it won't, what is your take on whether the latest marriages in California, same-sex, will still be valid?
Well, what's very clear is that the anti-gay forces who push the kinds of ballot measures that we're seeing now with Prop 8, who have done so in other states, before the thing goes forward, they always lowball it. They always say, this is only about preserving this. Of course we don't dislike gay people. Of course we're not trying to take away partnership rights or legal protections or marriages that people have. All we're trying to do is regulate what comes ahead, and only with regard to one particular thing. And then as soon as they pass, and you don't have to take my word for it, go look at the cases in Ohio, in Oregon, in Michigan. As soon as they pass, they take ballot measures like Prop 8 and use them as much as they can as a free-floating license to discriminate and to treat gay families and even unmarried heterosexual families as lesser and unequal. And so the one thing we know for sure is that if Prop 8 passes, there will be a huge amount of litigation because the anti-gay forces behind this thing will be empowered, and they will push to make it as sweeping and broad an attack on gay families and other families they don't like as they can, and those families and people will have to fight back to protect their own lives and their love. And there will be litigation. How that litigation will turn out, let's not find out.
Is there enough ambiguity in the proposition as it is written that there are questions that can be litigated?
In my view, reading through it and thinking about the other constitutional values that would be of interest here, it would be so deeply wrong to set asunder the marriages that are lawful at the time they're celebrated, that most likely they would not be taken away, but the door would be barred going forward. But nobody should have to go to court and hire lawyers and fight it out and worry for months or years about whether their marriage is going to be taken away. None of us would want that for ourselves. We should not impose that on our neighbors.
How are we looking?
Wait.
Well,
Okay, the question is...
We have a lot of report about the money flowing in, where the money's coming from, but how's the race looking right now?
Right. Well, I'm sure a lot of people have seen emails, seen news stories over the last week and a half. The fact of the matter is the anti-gay forces behind Prop 8 have raised an extraordinary amount of money, and particularly in this time when most Americans are worrying about the economy, about the future of our country, about education and so on, and want to see money used for the good, to see $30 million being spent to take rights away from one group of families is shocking. But nevertheless, that's what's happened. And so that means that there's at least $30 million out there. That's at least $10 million more than the pro-equality side has raised so far. So not only are the anti-gay forces raising that money, they're spending that money. And you've all seen their ads with the falsehoods and the fear-mongering. And those ads do move people, unless they hear something else, to bring them back to the side of fairness, to help them resolve their conflict in the right way. And so at the moment, the polls show that if there were a vote today of everyone, and of course you all know people are voting now, but if the vote were literally today, it's quite possible Prop 8 would pass. But what the campaign also says, the No on 8 campaign also says, is they know that their message of don't eliminate rights, treat others as you would want to be treated, it's wrong to treat people unequally, preserve the freedom to marry for all, does actually move that reachable swing group of people, provided they hear it. And so the challenge of the next 21 days is to make sure that when they're hearing this $30 million fear campaign, they're also hearing the truth. And the way it's going to turn out will depend on whether that happens or not. As we sit here today, this is an entirely winnable battle. Prop 8 can certainly be defeated. But it's not going to be defeated by itself.